So we're going to be comparing and ordering different numbers, but before we can get to comparing two different numbers, it's important that we understand the parts of just one number. So I've listed out the place value here. You can see that the first one to the left of the decimal point is the ones place. And we keep going to the left. There's the tens, the hundreds, and you can see that I changed it in red here, and that's just because I want to show you that this whole place value, this set of three numbers, is called the ones place. Next is the thousands to the left of the hundreds place. After the thousands is the 10,000s, and you're going to start to pick up on a pattern. The middle number, you see here it's tens, and the middle number here is 10,000s. When we get to this next section of three digits, you can probably guess what the first word of this 3 is going to be. Next, we have hundred thousands, and the purple is here because this place value is actually going to be called the thousands. And just like the last one, we had hundreds here. This is called 100,000. So the one to the left is always considered to be it's considered to be the hundreds part of that place value. Next, we have the millions. So that 4 right there would represent the millions place. And then the 3 would represent the 10 millions place, and we kind of saw that coming. Now everything again in the middle has a 10 in front of it. The next is the 100 millions, and you can see here I've colored those all in blue. So we have the millions place, the thousands, and the ones. Now the millions is of course the greatest, the thousands is next, and then the ones place. And then the last number we have right there is a 1. It's for the billions. Now this chart can obviously keep going. Numbers keep going on forever and ever. To the left of this billions would be 10 billions, and then 100 billions. And the next value, if you know that, would actually be trillions, and it would keep going from there. We only have to know up to the billions place. It's good to know the trillions, and even if you know the quadrillions, that's good, because if you ever want to make a lot of money, maybe you want to make $1 trillion. Maybe that's your goal. Hey, that's a cool thing. Maybe you want to know those place values. And those numbers to the right of the decimal, we're going to get a lot to those later on this year. This is the tenths. It's similar to tens, of course, but we add a th. All decimals, we add a th to the end. So the next one is going to be hundredths. And you can see kind of the pattern with the decimals. As we go to the right, it's doing the same thing that these are going to the left. And of course, numbers to the right of the decimal, as we go further and further away from the decimal, the numbers are getting less and less. So this 8 right here, it's going to represent the thousandths place, and it's actually the lowest of all the decimals that are listed here. The next decimal would be 10 thousandths. We don't have room to show that, and then 100 thousandths, and so on. And as I kept going, if I wanted to go all the way to the millionths and the 10 millionths, those would be smaller and smaller numbers. All right, now we understand the place values, hopefully. If not, you can definitely go back and rewind that and pause it. But there's 3 ways to write a number, and that's what we're going to focus on here. The first way is a standard form. It's the one we really just write the number the normal way. So it would look something like that. 1,319,256. That's how I would read it. And it looks just like we see it up there. The next way is expanded form, and you can see the word expand. We stretch it out really, really far. Think of an elastic, right? That's going to look like this. So you can see each place value is added up by the value of that digit. So the first digit is the millions place. So we put all zeros after this 1. We're going to put all zeros after the 300,000. And we keep going on and on until we get to the last digit of 6. And then you're done. But notice all the zeros we have here. It's never 1,300,000 plus. It's always each number has one digit that's different from 0, and that's it. And then the last one is word form, and you see this a lot when on checks. So we have it written out in words, and a lot of math students, even the good math students, have trouble with word form because it's a lot more of an English lesson actually than it is a math lesson. And you can see here that the 2 things I really want to point out are the commas and the hyphens. In between standard form, when we have different place values, we mark that with commas. It's no different in word form. You can see at the 1 million point we have a comma, and then right after the 1,000 point we have a comma. That's no different in word form, so don't forget that. And also the hyphen, anytime a number ends in ty, so 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, you put a hyphen after it if there's another number. So if this happened to be 250, we wouldn't need a hyphen. right, because there would be a 0 there. But here that we do need a hyphen because it's 56. So we need the hyphen there. Those are the two common mistakes, the two wolves, if you will, on our chicken that our chicken has to worry about. All right, so now we're ready to compare numbers. And some people like to write these out horizontally. When I'm comparing them, I don't think it's necessary really to do that. We can just compare place by place. So let's start on the left, which is the biggest place value. These both have an 8. So that 8 is going to be no good to me. But the next place value is a 10, so we know that this is going to be greater. So for the less than sign, we're actually saying that 867 is less than 876. That makes sense, right? So the less than sign, this point right here, it always points to the left side. So less and left, they both start with L. You can also think of it as this shape right here kind of looks like an L. And this word is, of course, less than. So we would put that little less than sign right in there. The next number, I'm going to do the same thing. So I just go place value by place value. The 3s, we can cross out. The 2s, they both have 2s. And a lot of these are designed to trick you with the way that they order the digits here. If you just take a quick glance at them, it's a little bit tricky. We have the hundreds place. That's clearly the place where they're different. And the 7 is going to be greater. So once again, we would say that this is less than. 32,467 is less than 32,764. The last one is a bigger number, same process. Don't panic with the big numbers. Just take your time on them. The 100,000s place isn't going to help us. The 10,000s place isn't. But the thousands place is. So 7,052,226 is going to be greater. Now, be real careful on this because the 226 is actually less than the 986. And that was kind of designed to trick you. They wanted you to skip the step of going through it place value by place value. And if you just quickly glance, you might have gotten this wrong. So just be careful on that. Ordering is it's a longer process, but it's the same process. You really should line these up vertically. And I'm going to do that right now, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm lining these up so that they, horizontally, you think it's going across. Vertical is going up and down. So I'm rewriting the problem. Just like you'd rewrite an addition problem to go up and down, or a multiplication problem, right? You've seen addition problems where they say, I don't know, 36 plus 74. And if you try to do it from here, it's a lot harder than if you just try to line them up vertically. It's a lot easier, right? So that's all I'm doing here. I'm just lining them up vertically so that I can compare them. And this way now I can look at my hundreds place, I can look at my tens place, I can look at my ones place, and it's much easier to read through. So I have my hundreds place, these are all 9, so I can actually cross those all out. I'm going to be looking at the tens place, and I see 3 differences. Pay real close attention. This is kind of another wolf to the directions. The directions here say least to greatest. Sometimes they'll say greatest to least. So if you list them in the right order, but against the directions, if you understand what I'm saying, you'll get it wrong. So just be real careful. These say least to greatest. So we're going to start with the lowest number, and that's 926. And whenever we separate numbers, different sets of numbers, we use the semicolon. The reason for that, if we used a comma here, this number up here would look like a really big long number. It would just look like 926,962,933. And we want it to be 3 different numbers that we're comparing. The next number will be 933, and then it'll be 962. One more problem, and then we are home free here. Again, look at the directions. The directions this time are greatest to least, so you got to pay attention to that. And it looks like we're comparing 3 numbers. Again, I can tell that by this semicolon. So let's see. I'm going to list them vertically. And when I list these numbers vertically, I don't care about trying to solve a problem. I'm not trying to figure out. I'm just copying the numbers up here. If you try to solve it as you're listing them, you might get thrown off. So just list them and then do the process from there. Take your time on these. No sense in rushing. So the 3s, we're crossing those out. The 6s, those don't help us. And we can see here we got a winner with the hundreds. Now this is saying going greatest to least. So the one that's greatest here is the 7. So I'm going to list that first. I'm just going to cross that off. That way I know I'm done with it. 36,000. All right, now I can cross off the hundreds place. And it looks like the tens place wins out. So I'm going to write 36,454 second. All right, and that's pretty much all there is to it.